Welcome to Not Boring English. Today, I tell a story called Don't Waste Your Life for CEFR Level A2B1. If the speech is too fast, please slow the video with playback speed settings. I found the little red notebook on a rainy Tuesday morning. I was running late for work and my umbrella flipped inside out. I stepped into a shop to dry off. The shop smelled like coffee and warm bread. The notebook sat on a small shelf near the window. A handwritten note on the cover said, "Write one truth." I picked it up and felt a small, calm hope. My name is Anna. I am 32. I work in an office. I answer emails and make reports. My days were quiet and safe. I liked the safety, but I also felt stuck. I woke early. I went to work. I ate dinner alone, and I watched TV. On most nights, I told myself, tomorrow I will do more. Then tomorrow came, and I did the same things again. That morning, the little red notebook felt like a small question. I opened it on the bus. The first page asked, "If you had 5 years, what would you do?" I smiled and wrote, "Paint more, travel, see my brother in Peru, learn to speak slowly and sing badly, but with joy." I laughed at my words. They sounded like a different life. At lunch, I sat in the park with the notebook. An old woman sat beside me. Her clothes were simple. Her hair was white and short. She had a bright blue scarf. She looked at my writing and asked, "What did you write?" I showed her the page. She read slowly. Then she said, "Good, but why wait 5 years?" Her eyes were kind, but they were sharp too. I did not answer at first. The old woman's name was Maria. She told me a short story. When I was young, she said, I thought I had time. I worked, I saved, and I promised myself I would live later. I waited too long. I stayed in the same town. In the end, the time was gone. She touched my hand lightly. I had to learn to use small time, she said. Not big plans, small steps every day. Her words stayed with me like a song. I walked back to the office and I sat at my desk. I looked at the clock and then at the calendar. The hours felt heavy. I closed my laptop and took a deep breath. I took out the notebook and wrote a new page. I wrote a list of small things. I wrote, 1 painting this week, call my brother this weekend, walk 2 mornings each week, buy 1 packet of watercolor paints. The list was small. The items felt possible. I began to follow the list the next morning. I woke early and walked in the park. The air was cool and clean. I watched a man feed birds. I felt my chest open a little. In the evening, I bought cheap paints and a small set of brushes. I painted a cup of tea. My first picture looked funny, but I liked it. I put it on my kitchen table like a small victory. Days passed. I painted small things. A blue door, a jar of flowers, my cat asleep in the sun. Each painting made me feel better. I called my brother. He sounded surprised. He said, "Anna, I was thinking about you yesterday." We laughed, and then we made a plan. He invited me to visit him in Peru next year. I felt a sharp, happy feeling. I had not planned a big trip yet, but the idea grew like a plant when you water it. At work, I changed small things too. I asked for different tasks that used my eyes and my hands. My boss said yes. He liked how my reports looked, and then he liked my small drawings on the margins. People began to talk to me more in the office. They asked about my paintings and my walks. I felt seen. The small changes were not dramatic, but each day I had something to look forward to. One afternoon, I met Maria again at the same bench. She smiled and asked, "How is the notebook?" I showed her a new page full of tiny plans and small successes. She nodded and said, "Good. Remember, not all time is the same." I asked, "What do you mean?" She said, "Some moments we waste, but other moments we spend like we buy a gift for our future self. Those are the moments that matter." A month later, I bought a cheap ticket for a painting class on Saturday afternoons. The teacher was patient and kind. I met other people who painted. We spoke slowly and laughed. One woman in the class said, "I always wanted to do this, but I was afraid." She looked at her painting with surprise. I looked at mine, and I felt a soft pride. We were not perfect, but we were doing something we loved. The notebook grew thicker. I wrote short sentences and short promises. I painted a picture and sent it to my brother. He sent a photo back of the mountains near his house. He sent a note that said, "Come soon." The small steps made a long road feel simple. Then one evening, my mother called. She said, "Do you remember Mrs. Lewis, our neighbor? She is sick and alone." I went to see Mrs. Lewis the next day. She was small and kind. She told me about her life. She said, "I always thought I would travel when I had more money. Now I am older, and I have small memories I love." She showed me a small box of postcards from places she visited when she was young. Her eyes shone. She said, "I am glad I chose one small trip at a time." I stayed with Mrs. Lewis for an hour. We drank tea and we spoke about small things. When I left, I felt a strong clarity. I thought of the old woman Maria who told me not to wait. I thought of Mrs. Lewis and her postcards. I thought of my little red notebook and the small pages that added up. A year after I found the notebook, I was not a new person, but I was a person with a different rhythm. I still worked at the office, but I painted more. I had new friends. I had a plan to visit my brother next summer. I had spent small time in good ways. My life felt warmer. One afternoon, I walked past the shop where I first found the notebook. I looked in the window and saw a small shelf. There was a blue notebook with a note, "Write one truth." I smiled. I left my old red notebook on the shelf for someone else. I wrote a new note inside it for the next person. Begin with one small thing. The simple truth I learned was this: life is not only big chances and big plans. Life is small mornings and small choices. If we wait for a perfect moment, we may wait forever. If we choose small steps, we can make our life full. I did not change everything, but I changed enough. I stopped wasting little pieces of time. I used them like small seeds, and slowly they grew. That is why I folded the notebook into my bag for years, and then I left it on the shelf. I wanted someone else to feel the gentle push. If you ask me now, I would say, do one small thing today that your future self will thank you for. Comprehension. Questions. Now, I will ask a few questions about the story to check your understanding. 1. Where did the narrator find the little red notebook? 2. What small changes did the narrator make after meeting Maria? 3. Why did the narrator leave the notebook on the shop shelf at the end? Write your answers in the comments to practice writing in English. Thank you for listening to this story on Not Boring English. What one small thing will you do today so you do not waste your life? Please write your answer in the comments and subscribe for more stories.